Alone in the wide open country on a moonlit mountain pass, Gilgamesh saw lions in the distance and was afraid. He reached out to Nunaswen, Dingya of the moon. Enkidu has died. Now will I die? Please protect me, Nunaswen. Gilgamesh slept and awoke in the moonlight, glad to be alive. When the lions came near and attacked him, he fought for his life. He killed 2 lions, skinned them, and ate their flesh. Dressed only in lion skins, he continued his quest to find the immortal Utnapishtim the faraway and discover how to live forever. He dug new wells and quenched his thirst with their water. He followed the breezes of the winds hither and thither. Dingya Shamash was concerned about him. He bent down and spoke to Gilgamesh. Why are you roaming? You can never discover how to live forever, Gilgamesh. If I must rest forever in the world below after my restless roaming, I will fill my eyes with sunlight now, because the land of the dead is totally dark, and a dead man never sees your radiance. Gilgamesh came to the place in the Mashu Mountains where Shamash disappears out of sight at the end of each day. It was guarded by scorpion people. As Gilgamesh approached the scorpion people, his face clouded with terror. Scorpion man spoke to Scorpion woman. This may be a Dingir, he said. He's 2 parts Dingir and 1 part man, said she. Who are you? Said Scorpion man to Gilgamesh. Why are you here in the Mashu Mountains? I am Gilgamesh, king of Uruk. I am searching for Utnapishtim the faraway. He's a man who doesn't die. I must find him and discover how to live forever. I must enter this place in the Mashu Mountains to continue my quest. Only Shamash enters here, says Scorpion man. You can't take the nighttime path of the sun. That's never been done by any man. Scorpion woman spoke to Scorpion man. Gilgamesh is thin, weather-beaten and sad. Let him continue his search for Utnapishtim the faraway. Scorpion man spoke to Gilgamesh. If you take this path, you must run in total darkness for 12 hours to reach the place where Shamash arises to bring in a new dawn. Go quickly now, Gilgamesh, before Shamash ends this day and enters here to take his nighttime path. Gilgamesh heeded the words of Scorpion man. He entered the nighttime path of the sun, a tunnel of total darkness. Gilgamesh ran. He ran and ran non-stop for 12 hours. With the sun as a black hole rolling behind him, he felt its heat but saw no light. After 12 long hours, Gilgamesh ran out of the darkness a moment before Shamash rolled out behind him and arose to bring in a new dawn.
By the pale dawn light, Gilgamesh saw he was in a garden. The fruits of the trees glimmered and shimmered. They glinted and sparkled. These were Dingir trees, and lovely to behold. Bunches and clusters of luscious bright red carnelian droplets dangled from luminous rich blue lapis lazuli branches and stems. The leaves were glittering bright green gemstones. The cucumbers were smooth dark yellow gemstones. The dates were turquoise cowrie shells. Gilgamesh picked a carob pot, and it was made of amber. As he walked around the garden bedazzled, he heard the distant ebb and flow of water lapping on the ocean shore. This was the garden of Dingia Shiduri, the wise woman who kept a tavern at the edge of the world. Swathed in veils, Shiduri stood outside her house among her beer vats. As she lifted a golden lid, she saw Gilgamesh in her garden. He had a dingy look about him, but dressed only in lion skins, he was a fright. "He may be a killer," said Shiduri to herself. "For sure this man has captured and slaughtered wild bulls. Now he's walking towards my house." Shiduri hurried inside the house, closed and bolted the door, then ran up to the safety of her roof. Gilgamesh walked towards her door, put his ear to it, heard nothing, then shouted towards the roof, "Tavern keeper, why have you bolted your door and run to your roof? Let me in or I will break in." "Who are you?" "I am Gilgamesh, king of Uruk." "Gilgamesh?" "Yes." Shiduri came down from her roof. "Why are you so thin, weather-beaten and sad?" she asked. "I have journeyed far and wide through heat, cold and wind, wearing only lion skins. My friend ran like a hunted wild pony and prowled like a panther. Together we climbed mountains and killed lions. We killed Humbaba and the Bull of Heaven. My friend Enkidu died. I waited and wept beside his body for days and nights, wanting and willing him to be awake and be alive. When a maggot crawled from his nostril, I was filled with fear. I'm so afraid of death. I journey far and wide, remembering Enkidu's words. How can I be silent? Enkidu, whom I love, turned into clay. Must I do so too one day? I'm on a quest to find the immortal Utnapishtim the Faraway and discover how to live forever." "Oh, Gilgamesh," said Shiduri, "you can't live forever. No human can. When the Dingirs created humans to be their servants, they gave them life, but not life everlasting. The Dingirs kept life everlasting for themselves. Enjoy your life, Gilgamesh. Keep yourself clean and dress well. Eat, drink and be merry. Care for the child who takes your hand, and keep your wife always smiling in your manly embraces." "I can't live like that," said Gilgamesh. "Enkidu died, and I am full of grief. I fear death. I must find the immortal Utnapishtim the Faraway and ask him how to live forever. Do you know where he is?" "Oh, yes, I do," said Shiduri. "You do? Utnapishtim lives on the far side of the ocean." "I will go over the ocean," said Gilgamesh. "Ha," said Shiduri, "only Shamash goes over the ocean. People can't." "Why not?" said Gilgamesh. "In the middle of the ocean," said Shiduri, "between here and the faraway shore, is the Sea of Death. If its water touches you, your life ends there and then. Ushanabi can pass through the Sea of Death only because the stone things he puts in his boat protect him from the deadly water." "Who is Ushanabi?" "Ushanabi is Utnapishtim's boatman. Speak to him. He's in the forest beside the shore, preparing to go over the ocean." Gilgamesh excitedly picked up his dagger and axe. "I will go with him." "You may reach your destination," said Shiduri, "or, if you don't, you can return. Go now, Gilgamesh."
Gilgamesh saw the forest beside the shore. It was not far away. He ran to the forest and entered it with his axe raised and his dagger unsheathed. Inside, the forest was dark and awesome. Overawed, Gilgamesh dropped like an arrow to the forest floor and let out a terrifying howl. Ushanabi saw the glint of Gilgamesh's axe and feared the worst. He tried to grab the axe, but Gilgamesh hit him on the head. Ushanabi grabbed Gilgamesh's arm. Gilgamesh staggered around crazily. In his craziness, he smashed the stone things to pieces, picked up the broken pieces, and hurled them from the forest into the ocean. Ushanabi looked at Gilgamesh. I am Ushanabi, boatman of Utnapishtim. Who are you? I am Gilgamesh, king of Uruk. I came through the mountains on the path of total darkness taken by Shamash before he arises to bring in a new dawn. Why are you so thin, weather-beaten, and sad? Gilgamesh told Ushanabi how he had journeyed far and wide wearing only lion skins. He told him how Enkidu ran like a hunted wild pony and prowled like a panther. He told him how they climbed mountains together and killed lions, how they killed Humbaba and the bull of heaven, how Enkidu died, how he waited and wept beside Enkidu's body for days and nights, wanting and willing him to awake and be alive. When a maggot crawled from Enkidu's nostril, I was filled with fear. I am so afraid of death, I journey far and wide, remembering Enkidu's words. How can I be silent? Enkidu, whom I loved, turned into clay. Must I do so too one day? I am on a quest to find the immortal Utnapishtim, the faraway. Can you take me over the ocean to the faraway shore? You destroyed the stone things I put in my boat to protect me from the deadly water in the sea of death. Now we need 300 very long poles. Take up your dagger and axe. Start making poles. Gilgamesh made 300 very long poles. He and Ushanabi put the poles into the boat, pushed off from the shore, and began rowing over the ocean. As they rowed, the new moon became the full moon, and then they rowed for 3 more days. Stop rowing, said Ushanabi. Let the oars go. We are approaching the sea of death. If the deadly water touches you, your life ends then and there. Pick up a pole, hold it high, drop it deep into the deadly water. Don't let the water touch you. Let the pole go. Pick up another pole, hold it high, drop it deep into the deadly water. Don't let the water touch you. Let the pole go. Pick up another pole. Gilgamesh did this 300 times. When the last pole was gone, he held his hands wide apart, so his lion skins became a sail. The wind filled the sail and moved the boat. We have passed through the sea of death, said Ushanabi. I see the faraway shore, said Gilgamesh.
On the faraway shore, Utnapishtim the faraway was looking out over the ocean. Here comes Ushanabi, he said to his wife. The boat sailed nearer. There's a stranger in the boat with Ushanabi, said Utnapishtim. The boat landed, and Gilgamesh stepped ashore. I am Gilgamesh, the king of Uruk. I am Utnapishtim, or as some say, Utnapishtim the faraway. Why are you so thin, weather-beaten and sad, Gilgamesh? Gilgamesh told Utnapishtim how he had journeyed far and wide, wearing only lion skins. He told him how Enkidu ran like a hunted wild pony and prowled like a panther. He told him how they climbed mountains together and killed lions, how they killed Humbaba and the bull of heaven, how Enkidu died, how he waited beside Enkidu's body for days and nights, wanting and willing him to awake and be alive, how he was filled with fear when a maggot crawled from Enkidu's nostril, how he was so afraid of death he journeyed far and wide remembering Enkidu's words. How can I be silent, said Gilgamesh. Enkidu, whom I loved, turned into clay. Must I do so too one day? For an answer to this question, I left my city of Uruk and set out to find you, the immortal Utnapishtim, son of Ubaratutu. Every fibre in my body ached with grief. I didn't sleep on my journey, and sleeplessness worsened my grief. I killed the wild animals I encountered, bears, hyenas, lions, leopards, tigers, gazelles, mountain goats. I ate most of their flesh, then scraped the rest off their skins so I could wear them. When I came to the tavern at the edge of the world, My appearance frightened the tavern keeper, and she bolted her door to keep me out. Can I bolt a door and seal it with bitumen to keep out grief? Because of me there are no festivals, and happiness has become misery." Utnapishtim listened to Gilgamesh carefully, then said this: "Why do you hang your head and prolong your grief, Gilgamesh? You have Dingir flesh in you, but you're human. So you will die one day as surely as the poorest and most ignorant man in Uruk. The difference between you and him is that you have a throne in the assembly of Uruk, whereas he eats scraps, wears rags, and puts on an old rope as a sash of honour. And he has no advisers to guide him." Gilgamesh raised his head, and Utnapishtim continued. "Why do the stars always shine in the nighttime sky, Gilgamesh? Why does the sun arise every day to bring in a new dawn? Because the Dingirs are ever wakeful, and have been since the beginning of time. Oh yes, they took Enkidu from you, but you achieved nothing by keeping every fibre of your body sore with grief. You're only using up the days of your life as you approach the day of your death. All humans are mown down like reeds by death. The handsome lad and the pretty girl die young when death seizes them. No one sees the face of death. No one hears the voice of death. Death is relentless. People build houses and start families, but then their legacy is disputed and divided. Sometimes there's a war in the land and many die. Sometimes the river floods and dragonflies float on the water. They look up at the sun momentarily, and then their life is over. The Dingirs decide the moment of death, but don't disclose that moment until it comes." "But what about you, Utnapishtim?" asked Gilgamesh. "You are different because you're immortal, but you don't look different. In fact, you're laid back and your hands rest at ease. What makes you live forever? How is it that you will never die? Why is your life everlasting?" "Oh, to tell you that, Gilgamesh, I must reveal Dingir's secrets. I've journeyed far and wide for an answer. Tell me." "Tell you how I became immortal?" "Yes." "Well, I'm immortal now, but I was mortal before the Great Flood." "You lived before the Great Flood?" "Oh, I lived before the Great Flood, but not before the Great Drought and the Great Plague. They happened long before I was born, as the mortal son of my mortal father, Ubaratutu, in the city of Shuruppak. Do you know Shuruppak?" "Oh, I do, said Gilgamesh. "The ancient city of Shuruppak." "Well," said Utnapishtim, "the Great Plague, the Great Drought, and the Great Flood were sent to Shuruppak and the whole world by Dingir Enlil to kill all the people." "Kill all the people?" said Gilgamesh. "Well," said Utnapishtim, "the noise of raised human voices annoyed Dingir Enlil. He decided to kill all the people so he could sleep. When Enlil took the world on earth as his domain at the beginning of time, there were no humans, only Dingirs. Mami created humans after the little Dingirs turned against Enlil, and one of them was killed." "A little Dingir was killed?" said Gilgamesh. "Oh yes," said Utnapishtim. "A little Dingir was killed, and Dingir blood was kneaded into purified wet clay by Dingir Aya, the Dingir of fresh water and wisdom. The Dingir blood gave this clay a mind and a heartbeat. Dingir Aya passed the clay to Mami for her to create the first humans. She passed the clay around the assembly of Dingirs for every Dingir to spit on it." "Spit on it? Tell me the whole story." "The whole story?" "Yes. Tell me what it was like at the beginning of time." "When there were no humans?" "Yes. Tell me how humans came to be created, and how they survived the Great Plague and the Great Drought." "Yes, the whole story. And how I became immortal. The whole story. Well, you've journeyed far and wide for an answer. I will tell you. But Napishtim began.